is the OTP. I'm joined by Titans Radio's draft experts, Rhett, Bryan, and Coach Mac. The duo is here. I asked, and you guys very graciously provided lists of the top prospects at each position. We had a lovely discussion last time about corners and safeties and linebackers, and it was so much fun, figured we should keep doing it. So here we are, talking defensive linemen and edge rushers. How are you guys feeling about this? Feeling good?
This is a heavy group.
It is a heavy group.
It's a big man draft, and it's a big man draft, and this is a lot of the parts.
Yeah, when you start putting your vertical and horizontal board together, just the numbers start to stick out to you. This is a pretty heavy group.
Mac, as teams are getting closer and closer to the draft, say 2 weeks out, 1 week out, a couple days out, how much is there a scramble at the end to get everything done? Or is it more hay's in the barn, there's nothing more we can do, we've evaluated as much as we can?
Yeah, there's no scramble. I mean, they started on this draft class a year ago. Mm-hmm. So the personnel department is never scrambling. The coaches don't start on their players until the season's over. The coaches are the ones that have to catch up with this, their film evaluation, their point of attack tapes, all of those types of things. But the scouting departments, they're working, they're a year ahead all of the time. So everything in this league, time-wise, is in a linear progression. This group, when they had to go dark and just, hole up in a room for a month together, they had to learn the same language. Mm-hmm. But wherever the new powers that be came from here, I mean, you got veteran people. They were already vetting these players, where they came from. So there's not anything that surprises you getting prepared for the draft, Amie. Now, on draft day, there are things that happen because you have no idea what the other 31 are going to do.
Right.
You don't. And people that try to tell you that all these air quotes here, is this a visual medium we're in right now?
Sure it is. There's cameras all over this room.
These experts, these draft experts, a lot of them don't know whether they're foot or horseback, as we talk about. Mm-hmm. So you don't listen to any of that stuff. But in your own place, that's a real misconception that there's a mad scramble when all of this stuff is going on. Everything is pretty well laid out. You've got your front boards, you got your side boards, you got your back board, everything is set. Now, how you move these people before the draft, your last minute adjustments, that's important. But also, once you start taking names off of that front board, then you start to adjust your board. Mm-hmm. Because then it looks different as to where you have them lined up vertically and horizontally as far as value. And so that's where the movement comes in. And then I worked the phones for years. And the phones are constantly going during a draft. I mean, that's an adrenaline pump there. But all that happens on draft day. Getting prepared, pretty linear, pretty calm.
But it's still not like that movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner, who I love. Love a Kevin Costner film, but that movie makes me sweat because they accomplish so much in a day. I mean, they really get too much done in a day. That's too much scrambling. There's not that much scrambling in real life. But, people think it's really that chaotic. It's intense, but not that chaotic.
Not chaotic.
Not chaotic.
Believe me, it's not chaotic.
Organized chaos. But a great film. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it, but exhausting.
You don't want chaos in your draft room.
No. That would be bad.
That's what the preparation's for.
All right, things that are not chaotic, this conversation right now. We are going to break down some of these defensive linemen. There's a lot to talk about in this group. Mac, why don't you give me some of the people who are on your list of defensive linemen that you're watching?
Derek Harmon from Oregon, 6'4.5", 313, 10 3/8 hands, bigger than yours, Amie. Arm length, 34 3/8. Wingspan, we measured Amy's hand, 8 1/4.
Yep, it is.
Pretty impressive. Wingspan, 82, 4.95 in the 40. His physical profile, that's what you want. He's explosive, initial quicks. He's got he's got a good club swipe or a rip move, and his bull rush, he's got great knockback. He can create a line of scrimmage on the other side. He's very powerful. He's got a great motor, his pursuit range, his play strength, his lateral range is exceptional. He has got an anchor that you want. He doesn't take games over as a pass rusher, but he is a disruptor. He's not extremely Gumby with his bend and flexibility, but he's powerful. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. The next guy I've got on my list is Tyleik Williams from Ohio State. Mm-hmm. 6'3", 334, 10 and a quarter hands, arm length 32, wingspan 79. You can tell by those measurements he's very sturdy. His anchor is extremely powerful. He's got flexible power he can play a double team. He can split double teams. He can knock his opponent back. Occasionally now you can see some pretty good flash from him as a pass rusher. You can see that as on the interior. His arm length, I said, was 32. That's right on the fringe. There's sometimes if he's playing a wide zone play where you can see that lack of arm length. But again, to me, this guy he will probably be chosen fairly early in this draft. T.J. Sanders from South Carolina, 6'4", 297, 10 and a quarter hands. Arm length 33 and 8, wingspan 81. Really, really long levers, 31 and a half vertical jump, 9'4" broad jump. And don't compare these vertical jumps and broad jumps to guys that weigh 180 or 200 pounds.
That's a good point.
These are big dudes moving big bodies. His short shuttle was pretty decent. He's explosive. He's got lateral twitch, decent pursuit range. I like his combination of burst and good balance. His hand usage is really good because, look, at 297, to say somebody 297 is a little bit on the lower scale weight-wise, it is for an NFL defensive lineman. Again, his lower half is not as strong with his anchor, and he's a little bit inconsistent sometimes with his bull rush, but he will fit in. He'll probably fit in as a good rotational player on a defensive front that will probably eventually move into being a starter. Mm-hmm. Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, one of my favorite players, 6'4", 296, 9.5 hands, arm length 33 and a half, wingspan 80 and a quarter. Really good lateral explosiveness. He's a 3 technique. He will play on the outside shoulder of a guard. His striking power, his initial punch, he's got twitch. He's a good gap shooter. He's got good anticipation. He's flexible. He can sink his hips. Really, for a big man, he's flexible. He drops his pads well. He was a really good run defender in the Southeastern Conference, which you're playing against good offensive linemen. He's got good range. He's a relentless motor dude. That's one of his biggest traits is he's got a relentless motor. Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Those are my guys. Do I have any more? No, that's it.
It's interesting that you make the point about a guy like T.J. Sanders being a rotational player and having that be where he gets his start. Not every person who is going to get drafted is going to be a starter day one right away. There are a lot of people who are going to be taken, especially in the mid-level of this draft, kind of those late day 2s, early day 3s, who are going to come in and be doing things other than what it is they're drafted at position-wise, whether it's being a positional player, whether it's making their impact on special teams. There are guys who have a lot of different ways they can contribute to a team and ultimately make a living.
Well, but let me just say something about defensive linemen. The way defenses are played now, collegiate ball and in the National Football League, you need to rotate your defensive front because that's hard work. That's grown man work in there, and you've got to at least be able to have. If you're on a roster, you go into the game day with less than 7 of these dudes suited up, you've got an issue because you're going to wear out doing that. That is physically taxing up there. So being a rotational player as a defensive lineman is just like being a starter because there are times when you're going to be out there when the starters aren't. And it's on purpose because you need to be able to conserve as much energy as possible through the course of 60 to 65 snaps, which is the average for defenses to play in this league. So all of these guys will be integral parts of somebody's roster.
Rhett, did I blow past a Rhett nugget?
I was thinking about Walter Nolan, his guy he likes that he mentioned last there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in Tennessee will be watching this guy and what he does and where he's picked because he's a Memphis native. Spent some time at a high school or 2 in Memphis and went to IMG for a minute and then finished at Powell, Tennessee in East Tennessee and a highly recruited guy, but local tie there in terms of a native Tennessean.
See, I did. Sometimes I got to slow down and back up. There's good Rhett nuggets around every corner.
Rhett's always got nuggets.
Yeah, you just got to look for them. All right, Rhett. Hit me with your list. You've got a lot of Michigan men on this list.
Well, rightly so. Again, these are leftovers from the national championship team of a year ago where they had 18 guys that were draft eligible. Mason Graham is at the top of that list at 6'3.5", 296, hands 9 and an 8, 78.5-inch wing. And the only thing he did at the combine was bench press 24 reps at 225. But Mason Graham, a standout high school wrestler, and so you will see that in the way and the style that he plays. His hand fighting is very good. Mason Graham is going to be a guy who is top night one pick. He'll be early on selected in this. He's a really nice player. His teammate Kenneth Grant, 6'3" and 5/8", 331, hands 10 and an eighth, 82 and 5/8 inch wing. Long player there. Again, another solid player for that national championship team of a year ago. Not as highly touted as this Mason Graham that I just mentioned, but certainly a guy that could be taken in night two and possibly a little later in this. Alfred Collins from Texas, 6'5", almost 6'6", 332 pounds, 10-inch hands, 85-inch wingspan for that guy.
Wow.
And 26 vert at that size, 26-inch vertical, and an 8-foot broad jump in this. But, yeah, you saw him and what he did for the Longhorns, especially as they got down to the stretch into the college football playoffs. The last one I've got is Shamar Turner from Texas A&M. There's a group of Shamars, and we're going to get to some edge rushers in there. Mm-hmm. But Shamar Turner, 6'3" and an eighth, 290, hands 10 and a quarter, 80, almost an 82-inch wingspan for Shamar Turner. Shamar Turner, very nice prospect, and all invited to the Senior Bowl, all invited to the Combine. A lot of those guys. And that's why when we're talking about these two groups and defensive line and edge rushers, there's a lot of good talent throughout, and some of these guys that we're mentioning are night one guys.
There's a lot of depth in that group.
There is, and
a lot.
And I'll give you a quick Rhett nugget on Shamar Turner. Great story on him and kind of his upbringing. Mom kept having trouble with Shamar in school, and he would get in trouble, and it was like, look, Shamar's got to come home. And that happened one too many times from about third grade to finally seventh grade. She moved him 20 miles away from her with her brother, who's a barber by trade, but also a youth football coach. Well, one of his clients is DeSoto, Texas high school head football coach. And so between his uncle and this head football coach, they really helped shape him and create what is a common story, and we hear this time of the year, of guys, look, you're not into trouble, but we need to let's focus and use this as fuel and use this as a lane for you so that, we want you to be the best. Mm-hmm. And he has taken all that to heart, and, he's going to be drafted and drafted pretty high. But there's plenty of stories like this. He's just one of them.
Mac, when you hear stories like that, does that add anything to the evaluation of a person, knowing that there is something keeping them honest, keeping them focused, keeping them motivated? Does that give any sort of an extra edge or oomph?
No, background is huge on these guys.
Okay, yeah.
I've been with clubs, and again, I will not name names, but we'd pay a guy to be on the road 300 days a year, going to hometowns and just basically crawling through all the pipes to find out, who this person is, who's the influence in their lives, because we're all products of our environment, mm-hmm. and so these types of things are extremely important. Extremely important. That's why the vetting of these players, and also those that are surrounding them, that are their support systems, or that might be their issues. You've got to learn about the people, because you're investing a lot of money, but also you're investing time on task with these people. Especially when you're drafting somebody, because you want someone that's going to be there. Now, they don't have to all have the same background, because nobody does. But you have to have a good idea of what it is. And the only way to do that is you've got to go talk to people they've surrounded themselves with their whole lives. And some of them have no choice sometimes with their environment. But how that environment has affected them, and how they have, as Rhett says, how they have gotten help to maybe get them back on another road, all that's important.
His mom loved him enough to say, look, I can't keep getting phone calls like this from school. And to hear the accounts of his teachers in those instances and scenarios, smart guy, mm-hmm. He liked to clown and have fun and, disruptive. And so, he's just like, I've got to figure something out here. We need to make sure. And that adage, it takes a village. Mm-hmm. It took a village for Shamar Turner, and the dividends are about to pay off.
Mothers are historically the best source.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Mom knows.
Mom knows because Mom has been there from the start.
Yep. This summer, SeatGeek has your ticket to the best live concerts in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. SeatGeek has the best seat, your seat, for an unforgettable summer. From rock royalty to rap superstars, R&B to country, find it all on SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of Nissan Stadium. Little Caesars is the official pizza partner of your Tennessee Titans. Download the Little Caesars app and get your favorites delivered today. Delivery fees apply. Now, back to the OTP. What do you think about moving on to edge rushers?
Let's do it.
That's another group that this draft has a lot of, and it's my personal favorite. So don't blow it.
Let's do your.
Don't blow it. We're all counting on you.
Don't blow it.
I won't.
We'll try not to.
No, I'm very excited. Mac, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right.
Of course. Here's Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. 6'5", 267, 9 5/8 hands, 34 1/8 arm length, 84 3/4 wingspan. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Condor type. 40-yard dash, 4.59. Vertical jump, 40 inches. 40 inches for a guy 6'5", 260. I mean, that's an athlete. Broad jump, 10-11. This guy has got the physical profile. If you're going to say, what do they look like? What do you want one to come out of the lab looking like? This is him. He can collapse the edge. He's heavy-handed. He can shoot gaps. He can beat the running back to the mesh point. He's quick. His pursuit range is really good. He's got bend. He's got flexibility. He's got lower body power. He can bull rush. He can long arm offensive tackles. He can do all of that stuff. Now, his pass rush production is mediocre.
Okay.
It doesn't match the physical attributes, okay? He's a little indecisive at times. His explosiveness to win as a pass rusher doesn't define what his traits are here. You've got to figure that out. Plays a little bit with too high a pad level. This is a quintessential traits guy that his production doesn't match his traits. That's where you've got to dig a little further to find out. Because if you wanted to paint a picture of one, how they look, this is the dude. And when I put on the tape of him, if I've got somebody like that, I mean, I've done this for a minute, I expect to see somebody that's not giving great effort, or I expect to see somebody that's kind of play on, play off. That's not this guy. Mm-hmm. You don't see that. He's an all out, he's a full out, just doesn't finish. So you've got to dig a little deeper to figure that out. But if you're looking for a prototypical, all the measurements, that's this guy, Shamar Stewart.
Wow.
He's the kind of guy that the Baltimore Ravens would take a chance on. And I'm not saying they're going to draft him, but, I mean, they've taken high trait athletic guys, and those guys are starting to pay dividends now in years 2 and 3. And there's some guys in there. He fits kind of that description.
All right, the next guy is Mike Green from Marshall, who we talked to at the Senior Bowl. We brought him to the table. 6'3", 251, hand size 8.5, arm length 32, wingspan 77 5/8. Really a strong guy. This is a twitched up dude when you watch him. He's got that. He can flatten to the launch point really well. He's a good hand fighter. He's got various pass rush moves, a lot of cross chop stuff that you see that's kind of advanced for a collegiate player. He transferred from Virginia, so this guy had and then transferred to Marshall, and you have to dig on that to find out the real reasons. He's got good hands, speed to power with leverage. He can do it. His motor is good. He attacks the blocks. Now, his arms are in what we call second percentile. He doesn't have extremely long gadgets. You've got to always take into account at Marshall the type of competition he's playing against as far as offensive linemen, because those aren't most of the time a big number of NFL-type offensive tackles. You can see his lack of reach sometimes. His anchor at times is not as good. You can see him get washed down some. But he's got twitch, he's got size, and he's got a good motor. So these guys are at such a premium that don't be shocked if he's not taken in the lower part of the first round.
Really?
Yeah. Just watching him. One now for everybody here in Tennessee, James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, 6'5", 245, 10-inch hands, 32 3/4 arm length, 4.47 in the 40-yard dash.
Wearing a hoodie.
Which looked good. A 1.56 split, broad jump of 10.3. And the reason I say the broad jump, his vertical jump does not match those other physical traits. He jumped 31 inches vertically. Now, whether he just doesn't want to jump high, I don't know, but
Some people don't like to jump. It's true. Some people just don't like the sensation of jumping.
Okay, well, I'll take your word.
Just
for
take that into consideration going forward.
I'll take your word for that. I didn't know that. I thought I had a lot in my repertoire over all the years I've done this, but
I don't like to jump.
okay.
I don't like the way it feels.
Your oldest daughter, Livy, doesn't like to jump either.
No, she's not very good at it.
I've seen her on the trampoline.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
She's gotten better.
It's still not good.
So, to your point, you got some experience there.
Yep.
All right, James Pierce. His first step is rare. He is really quick off the ball. He is very sudden. He's got good hand usage when he does. He's a capable power rusher. He's got a high motor. This guy's got a high motor, especially against chase and run away. He's got great range. You can see just in the speed that he runs. He's got versatility. They dropped him in coverage some there at Tennessee. He's very rarely on the ground, which is important. He can keep moving. At 245, he's probably going to still need some more strength development. Tennessee, you talk about defensive line rotation. I think we've talked about that earlier in our conversations with defensive linemen. They had a massive defensive line rotation there at Tennessee. Played as many 11 or 12 guys in a game, and they were really good. That was the strength of their football team defensively. He got decent bull rush for his size. Again, I think he probably needs to get a little bit stronger, learn to play with a little bit lower pad level. But the measurements as far as speed and twitch, James Pierce Jr.'s got all of that. But just looking at him on tape, I mean, that's the kind of dude you would want to take because he can chase and he can move, and he's sudden player. I think, in my humble opinion, he'll be a first-round player.
Yeah.
Next is Landon Jackson from Arkansas. This guy really helped himself in all the post-season workouts. 6'6", 267, hand size of 10, 33.25 arm length, 82.5 wingspan. Comes to the combine, runs 4.68, a 1.65 split. This is a long, we talk about high-cut guy. This is a high-cut guy. Vertical jump, 40.5. 10.9 broad jump. And for a high-cut athlete, that's exceptional. 7.13 three-cone. Now, that was at his pro day at Arkansas. And he also ran a good short shot. This is a sturdy, athletic frame guy. He's a smooth and fluid mover with good athleticism. And his improvement, first of all, he lost weight from the Senior Bowl to the Combine. And early on at the Senior Bowl, when I watched him practice, I was going, well, this isn't moving like, he's playing too upright. He got better as the week went on. And then at the Combine, you could see the dramatic improvement he had made in working out, getting his body fixed. He flashed some ability at the Combine of being able to win around the corner as far as with the drills that we talked about. He's going to need to develop more pass rush moves. I mean, he loves the cross chop, and that's what he does a lot of. He'll have to learn that. He's very athletic for his size, but he needs to continue to work on that. Struggles sometimes with leverage, but he's high cut, as we talked about earlier in the Macism stuff, that sometimes cuts into your balance. Mm-hmm. And when a blocker has leverage on him, those high-cut guys, unless they really work on keeping their center of gravity down, that can become an issue. But he has helped himself a lot in this post-season workouts and everything that he's done.
Showing that you're able to take coaching, take direction, or even just continually improve in a short amount of time has got to go a long way, right?
It does. It does. And it shows that he understood, and he got some good feedback, some legitimate feedback from people saying, hey, this is what is keeping you from, ascending as far as the draft order. And he did something about it.
That's awesome.
Assignment, responsibility, and accountability.
Yeah. I mean, he worked on it.
It's a big deal.
He looks like a cyborg, man. That's a big dude. Shaved head.
The
big
hardcore.
ripped up dude, yeah.
Got to make sure he's scary. Rhett, who's on your list?
Abdul Carter.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we've said, that week we did all that work at the Combine, and it just continues to be so. There's two blue chip players in this draft, and one of them's Travis Hunter, who we've already discussed in the previous OTP.
Check it out if you missed it.
Please. Like, rate, subscribe. Abdul Carter's the other. And you're talking about a unanimous All-American, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, 68 tackles, 12 quarterback sacks. I don't think he actually did any measurements at the Combine. I know he didn't do any testing, but I don't think they even put the tail of the tape on him. Now, that week we're at the Combine, they discovered that he had a stress reaction in his foot. I don't know if that means fracture. I'm not a doctor. Mac thinks I am. I'm not. But So
Amy's dad's a doctor.
he is, absolutely.
Get him on the horn and ask
Absolutely.
what a stress
Dr. Wells,
reaction
yes.
is.
I like Dr. Wells. I'll talk to him.
Apparently, it's something that sometimes requires surgery. He has elected to not have that surgery and continue to rehab. But we saw what he did in the college football playoffs. The guy had a shoulder injury that he's coming back from. That's another reason why he didn't test at the combine. He was beating guys with one arm.
Yeah.
He just was absolutely wrecking it. And that's the leader in this. A couple guys from Georgia. Jalen Walker is one. Jalen Walker, 6'1", 243, hands 10 1/4, almost an 80-inch wingspan. He was the Butkus Award winner in 2024, 61 tackles, 6.5 sacks. Did a lot for that Bulldogs defense. His teammate Michael Williams, also at the combine, 6'5", and an 1/8, 260, hands 10 1/4, arms 34 3/8, and almost an 83-inch wing.
Whoa.
5 quarterback sacks, 21 tackles. He's more of a defensive end big guy on the end of a line. And then the last one is a guy we saw at the Senior Bowl and at the combine, Donovan Ezaraku from Boston College. Ezaraku rang in at 6'2.5", 248, arms 34, wing 82 3/4. He had 6'9", 4'3" cone drill, 35.5-inch vert, 9'11" broad, 22 reps at 225 at the combine. And this is a guy that, Mac just talked about, Mike Green from Marshall. He was the quarterback sack winner in 2024 at Marshall with 17. Well, this guy had 16.5 right behind him. So you're talking about some wealth of riches at this position. And Ezaraku may not go certainly as high as Abdul Carter and some of these others I mentioned, but he's got a chance to sneak into the bottom of the first round.
What is it that separates some of these elite edge rushers from the guys who are still very good, strong, productive edge rushers? What's the difference?
Gumby.
Okay.
Guys that are Gumby, that's what you're looking for.
So the flexion, but from the knee and the ankle, especially the ankle, and being able to bend and get
that
in.
Motorcycle bend.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the separator. That is the separator. I mean, out of the great edge rushers that I've had the opportunity to coach in this league, they all had that. I mean, that you've got to have that. I mean, I drafted Simeon Rice when I was. I mean, the dude was just Gumby. Robert Quinn at the Rams had 19.5 sacks one season. Gumby. Those types of things, that Gumby bend, just that we talk about, and Rhett and I joke a lot. I mean, we were going through, of course, we do a lot of stuff together, and then he was reading off a list to me one time. I said, "This guy's got good flexion." I said, "You mean flexion?" I mean, that's what you need. That's what you meant. So now we call it flexion.
Yeah.
But
You
anyway,
almost said it there.
Yeah, you did say it there.
Flexion.
You did say it.
Oh, I did say flexion.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did. Which is that ability to bend with an athletic stance from the hips to the knees to the ankles, huge. That separates them.
And that's not necessarily tied to your shape or your size
No.
or anything like that. That's an ability.
That's God-given.
Yeah. Interesting.
And with Abdul Carter, he's got some of that bend, but, because he wore number 11 and played at Penn State, everybody's like, this is the next Micah Parsons. There's one Micah Parsons.
Right.
Micah Parsons was different from this guy.
Right.
This guy's got bend, but he didn't have the Micah Parsons bend.
Hey, Titans fans, with a Kroger Boost membership, you'll score big with double fuel points, free delivery, and lots more. Go to Kroger.com/boost for details. Kroger, the official grocer of the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up. Home is the forefront of all we do. It's why we're so committed to caring for the places and spaces in which we work and live. Ashley, the official furniture provider of the Tennessee Titans. Now, back to the OTP. Well, Rhett, did I miss any Rhett nuggets? Is there anything I blew
No, let's
past?
just see how many more words I can mispronounce.
and I will point it out too.
Yeah,
of course you will. I've got to have an accountability partner in this.
That your accountability buddy over here is
Yeah.
just selling you out right and left.
That's okay.
Well, guys, this has been fantastic. Thank you for continuing to go along with my little game here. I think that we have learned a lot about not only defensive line prospects, but some edge rushers and some real names to be watching as we get closer and closer towards the draft. It is coming. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be ready for it.
Yes, we will.
We'll be ready.
Yes, yes. All right, we are going to continue on through this series, but for now, we are going to say goodbye. For Coach Mac, for Rhett Bryan, I'm Amie Wells, and this has been the OTP.